Canada is being strategically squeezed. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. And let me reset the tone for a moment. Because if you're treating this like a normal day in Canada with the birds chirping and sun shining, it's not. It is a day that we have never seen before. What's happening today isn't a soundbite. It's not a Trump rant, and it's not China being China. What happened today is Canada got tested, and it got tested hard. Tested by Donald Trump and tested by China. And realistically, it's actually the exact same test. And I want to break it all down for you guys because it is a big deal. When the US president says CUSMA is irrelevant and we don't need cars made in Canada, let alone made in Mexico or made in North America, when Donald Trump says that and China responds by saying, hey, you shouldn't rely so much on the US, that isn't a coincidence. That is pressure coming from both sides. And the worst thing Canada can do is treat this thing emotionally instead of strategically. So let's start with Trump. This is the big news. This is our neighbor to the south. This is what everybody cares about. What did Trump do today in good old Dearborn, Michigan? Literally my neighborhood. You know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously in Canada, but Dearborn is very close to my home. So although behind me looks like Toronto, but you get the idea. This is home sweet home, if you will. So at the Ford Dearborn plant, he says, we don't need CUSMA. We don't need Canadian cars. We don't need Mexican cars. We can just build everything here. Everyone's coming here anyway. The Japanese are coming. The Germans are coming. Everybody wants to build in the US. And he may not actually be wrong to the extent that people are shifting and bringing their factories to the US. That part may be true. But Trump didn't wake up confused. Trump didn't forget that he's the one that signed CUSMA. And he definitely didn't forget that he's at the Ford plant. These are all things that he is very well aware of. Now, a lot of people are thinking that, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. No. Donald Trump knows exactly what he's talking about. It's just the people on the receiving end of these statements are a bit confused as to why he's doing it and what he's saying. And pay close attention here, because this is completely choreographed. He goes to Ford. He goes and picks the F-150. He's not picking random cars. He's not picking random factories. He's doing this intentionally. This is identifying with blue-collar workers, identifying with Midwest manufacturing, and of course, electoral leveraging with the Rust Belt in Michigan. This is all a beautiful picture for the people of Michigan and the Rust Belt. Like, you have to imagine that Trump already to them is their hero. By him beating the drums of you guys are the best, you guys are the champions, he is trying to solidify the base. He is trying to get support from the people. Support is fizzing out. Dearborn, remember Dearborn, all the drama that was happening in Dearborn? Fizzing out. People are not happy with the current administration in certain areas. People are losing faith in what's going on right now. So this is a move beyond the scope of just normal Canadian rhetoric in the 51st state. Pay attention. There's moves being made here. Chess pieces are moving. And by him standing there and saying, we don't need Canada, we don't need Mexico, he's actually doing three things, right? He is signaling toughness for the US workers, number one. He begins to frame Canada as the job thief, that they're taking our jobs away. These are great paying American manufacturing jobs that are going to Canada. And number three, he's putting out the idea that tearing up these agreements and tearing up manufacturing clauses, tearing up the way cars are built is okay. So this is actually domestic signaling first and international messaging second. And I think people need to be able to separate these things, because when he goes on there, you have to remember Donald Trump is brilliant when it comes to presentations, when it comes to shows, when it comes to doing anything on TV. He'll make you love him, he'll make you hate him, but he's always able to draw out your emotion. So he's great at doing these things. Like, every time I watch him, he's always doing something, I may find repulsive, I may find, not appropriate, but always fascinated. Always just like, wow, I can't believe he did that. Wow, look what he did. Like, it's constant. It is a constant move that he does. But why is CUSMA being irrelevant? Why it's not actually rhetoric? So CUSMA, as you know, is actually up for review. Everybody probably knows this by now. This is coming for review, and the Americans and the Canadians are going to be able to review this thing. What's good, what's bad, what do we like, what do we don't like. Let's figure out a new agreement, right? That's part of the whole fact that it's up for agreement, it's up for renewal all the time. So either this thing can be renewed, you can just extend it without making any changes, or even better, you can cancel it altogether. So again, what Donald Trump is doing, what America is actually doing, is they're setting the groundwork for negotiation. Oh, I don't need this stuff. We don't need this stuff. America's good enough on its own. We don't need these Canadians. So then he's hoping the Prime Minister, the Trade Minister, all these people are like, oh man, they're so nervous, they're so scared. They're going to do whatever we want. And you have this dynamic, right? He's basically trying to rig the bets. He's trying his best to make sure that the Canadians are on shaky grounds. But as a Canadian, we got to be tough. We got to be strong. We got to be wise. But we have to be careful because Trump is basically saying, I'm emotionally prepared to walk away from the table. And that's a big deal because it has been years with NAFTA. It has been years with CUSMA. So what's happening now is there's a real shakeup. There's a real push and pull going on here. So let's dismantle the most important part of the story. When Donald Trump goes on and he actually says, we don't need cars made in Canada. But there are no cars made in Canada, right? That's the thing that is evading everyone's mind here. That's the thing that people are lacking to understand. Cars are being shipped back and forth across the border multiple times. It's a North American car. Almost every car is a North American car. Parts from here, parts from there, shipped here, shipped there. It's constantly happening. So if you sever all these different ties and you get rid of all the different production plants and you get rid of all the different supply chains, you end up with a more expensive car. You end up with brand new factories that have to recuperate their costs. You start off with everything new, everything different. And in the end, everything way more expensive. Now, who in the Rust Belt, who in Michigan, who in the world wants more expensive cars? These pain point hits the workers last and the consumers first. That's the trick. So you'll be working, but nobody's going to end up buying because it's just more and more expensive. But one thing that we as Canadians messed up is we thought that CUSMA or NAFTA was security. And this has clearly shown this was a major mistake. We confused integration with protection. CUSMA didn't guarantee loyalty, it guaranteed efficiencies. And efficiency is fragile. When one partner decides that stability is optional, the other partner suffers tremendously because his entire system was based on this stability. His entire economy is based on this stability. And now that this stability is obviously unstable, you have no clue what to do. And that's what we're witnessing right now. There's just no clue. What do we do? Are they in? Are they out? Are we partners? Are we not partners? This is the problem. We really are not prepared for this sort of a scenario. But this is also a lesson Canada should have been able to learn. When it had its problems with softwood lumber, it wasn't paying attention. When it had its problems with steel and aluminum tariffs returned, Canada was just watching. No reaction. Even though things are changing. You see the Americans are getting more and more protective. You see the Americans taking pride in their own products and making your products less desirable, less affordable. They are punishing you. But what did Canada do? Nothing. It just stayed and watched. So the exemptions became political and not the rule. So CUSMA didn't fail. Canada misread what it actually was all about. And ultimately, it seems to be that it was just about making sure America was stronger and that it could leverage less and less dependencies on its other trade partners. Now, with that being said, on the other side of the world, you have China. And China goes and basically says to Canada, hey, I know you have this America problem. I know this guy Donald is giving you a hard time. I'm here to help. Let me lend you a hand. Now, of course, the challenge is, what are you going to do, Canada? What is the wise decision here? Because now that the hand is extended, now that talks are beginning to happen, now that the Prime Minister is going to Beijing, now that all these things are happening, what actually ends up happening? What benefit actually befalls the Canadian people? So China isn't offering friendship. That's what I want to really get across here. China is offering optionality. It's giving an option. It's not saying we're going to be best buds. It's not saying we're going to do everything you need. No, it's giving you an option. Trade with us. We'll trade with you. Buy from us. We'll buy from you. Option, another option. But when is it doing it? That's the trick, right? Because friends are there when you're up, when you're down. They're your friends. They're always there for you. But when all these war drums are beating as strong as they can, China says, hey guys, I'm around. I can help. The US is unpredictable. Your trades are being weaponized. Your relationships are being pressurized publicly. And all the norms and things that you've been used to for so many years are breaking down. So they offer a phrase. They tell you something that you love. They tell you something that you can't imagine. They tell you strategic autonomy. Big word. Big word. Strategic autonomy. What does it mean? What are they saying? What is this strategic autonomy? Stop reflexively aligning with Washington. Diversify your trade and diplomacy. Reduce leverage on the US economy. This doesn't mean shared values, trust, love, kumbaya. It doesn't mean any of this. It doesn't mean let's hold hands and dance and sing around the fire. No. It doesn't mean any of that. What it means is you don't have to love us, but you also don't have to follow them. And this is a big message. This is huge, right? Because for basically eternity, as far as Canada is concerned, we have worked with the Americans after the War of 1812, obviously. People forget their history. But once that was all done, the trade began. It's a huge border. Lots of people. You want something, you got something, you need something, we need something. Trade. Good old-fashioned trade. China is exploiting a vacuum, but they're not creating it. And this is a fine line that people really have to understand. They are seeing the writing on the wall. They are seeing the aggression. They are seeing the instability. What are they doing? They're doing exactly what a brilliant country would do. And a lot of people are getting this wrong. A lot of people really are getting this wrong. People are very emotional. People are very amped up. People are willing to disavow their nation. People are willing to call out traitors and treachery and a lot of words. A lot of words being put out there. But let's be very, very specific here. Geography changes everything. China cannot turn off Canada's lights. China cannot disrupt trade borders in the US and Canada. And they cannot weaponize our financial plumbing instantly. The US is the only one that can do all that. That doesn't make China good. It just means that China is something and America is something. They're different. What one can do, the other cannot do. And what one cannot do, the other can do. And Canada's vulnerability is proximity plus dependence. That's the tic-tac-toe. That's the checkmate. It's not that it depends on the US for most of its trade. It's also that everyone else is so far away. So far away. So even if we wanted to ship oil, even if we wanted to, it would just take so much longer and become so much more expensive. Versus the US, they're just there. They're just south. They're our neighbor. We share the border together. It is literally one giant landmass. So it's complicated. So then the question becomes, okay, it's so complicated, but like America's not going to want their cars anymore. So you know what? Let's just forget about all that. Let's just bring in these Chinese cars, make the deal with China and call it a day. That is a profound opinion, actually. And I've spent hours online reading and summarizing. I'm seeing people make these comments The hell with the American cars, let's just use the Chinese cars. And sure, the Chinese cars are wonderful, they're fantastic, super high tech, super from the future. A lot of great things to be said about them, to be honest. And when I was in China, I was blown away by how incredible these Chinese vehicles are and that they're super, super, super affordable. Like, we're talking brand new cars that are electric for 30 grand. Like, these are insane numbers. Brand new car, 30 grand. Forget about electric, just any car. Now you got screens everywhere, buttons everywhere. It's a masterpiece. They really, really are. But there's a problem. Opening the market is not a strategy. Controlling the exposure is. If Canada opens up its auto market fully, meaning they have just went guns blazing and opened up everything possible that we can get cars from anywhere in the world now and the whole market is becoming flooded, without domestic capacity, without the guardrails, without the things to ensure Canadian workers and products are safe, then the diversification ultimately becomes replacements. Because the goal ultimately is not cheaper cars, right? It's not that we want to get rid of the American cars to have more affordable cars. That's not what it is. The goal is resilience, and those aren't the same thing. Having trade partners, having diversified economies, being able to make money in whatever situation with whoever, that's the goal. Taking American cars out, bringing in Chinese cars, and we don't have any workers, and we don't have any service, and our people aren't working, nobody's building, that isn't the scenario we signed up for. That isn't the scenario that we're looking for. And this is the line that makes everyone really uncomfortable. This is the line that Canadians don't want to hear. This is the line that makes everyone uptight and nervous. Canada does not need a new patron. Canada needs leverage. Leverage comes from multiple trade partners, internal capacity, disciplined diplomacy, and refusing emotional alignment. Trump isn't wrong to test us. I know a lot of people are like, how could he? We've been partners for so long. That's a nation. Their job is survival. Their job is prosperity. And that's our job. And China isn't wrong to court us. And in the exact same thing, this isn't wrong. The question is whether Canada is mature enough, is wise enough, is strategic enough to stop being pickable. Because the minute you're not pickable is the minute you're no longer sovereign. Because when you're pickable, bigger powers feel free to choose you, not to invade you, not to formally annex you, but they are able to decide your outcomes. And that's the thing Canada needs to watch out for. Because if it can't figure out that you're playing chess and that every country has its own interest and every country has its own leverage, and we don't have any of that, then pickable, my friends, is the word of the day.